Okay, I guess that's us. I guess we're here now and on.
Hey, yay.
Well, welcome. This is Two Psychic Moms, and I'm Julie Hawkins. I'm one of the psychic moms. And next to me or on top of me, however it's organized on your screen, is Tammy Langowski. And together we are two psychic moms, and separate we are what we do. So I am the biz psychic, and I channel from the records, and I give readings from the Akashic records. And we have this YouTube channel, and so yeah, that's what I do. And Tammy.
And you can find me at tammysintuitive.com. So I'm an intuitive advisor to your questions and areas of concern that you'd like to take a look at. I offer sessions, both Julie and I do. And I'm the other half of the Psychic Moms. And yeah, we enjoy doing this. So when you come on, hopefully you're getting something from this, this adventure that we go on together, and we just kind of take a look at some channel messages that come in to share with you, and topics that we like to cover and all that good stuff. I just did I will be doing another clairaudient convo coming up. I do channel messages that I put on my social media, Tammy's Intuitive Services, for that on Facebook and Instagram. And I just kind of open up to any channel messages, and then clairaudient convos as I might pick something, because when you're clairaudient, you can talk to anything, nature, animals, all that good stuff. So I will take something and actually have a legit conversation, and what I'm typing in there is what I get from it. So anyway, they're fun. I hope you check those out, but I have one coming up again soon here.
And
so yeah.
Like you'll always get what you need. So
right.
Pardon my squirming here. I was just saying to Tammy before we went live that in addition to my normally irritating and constant back pain, I am now having a bout of sciatica, which is just a different part and a different area. So I'm trying to find someplace that's not so painful, and I'm not succeeding. So if you see me squirming, that's what that's about now.
Yeah, so sorry. We'll be sending a good healing later.
And I went to go book an appointment with my chiropractor, and I think she's gone for the week. And so I'm like, it'll probably feel better by then. So anyway.
That's often the case.
So here's what we're going to do today. I have a client and somebody who submits questions to me, not every month, but regularly. And I think it's just lovely to bring them here. So I'm going to bring them here. We'll see what we get through. I have more than one, and her questions. This is Daphne, and I'm sure she won't mind me giving her credit for them, because I think they're brilliant questions, truly. So we're going to start with those, and they're always a wide variety of things. The one that we're going to start with today is on spirit guides and higher self, and interesting, good questions. And then I have a cat story. So if you don't want to hear that, you can cut out after the after the channeled information. So all right, and then I have Felix on the floor and Bella on the desk, and they're already, Bella's like, what's he gonna do? Anyway, it's a circus. Truly, we're actually discovering a new hierarchy in my house. But
oh, that can be challenging with cats. Yeah, for sure.
I'll get to that in a little bit. All right. So here is these are multi-part. So I might just start with the first part, and we'll see where it goes. And I don't know. I'm just going to read. All right. Good. So she says, hi, Julie. I had a question on spirit guides and higher self. Can spirit guides be on different levels of light? And she asks that, and she says, can some spirit guides be on even in the dark level? Are our own higher selves, can they be on different levels of light as well? So she says she's been listening to other YouTube talks about that. And so I don't want to get into what they are saying. I don't even want to read it, because I just go with from that and where we are. So what did you, I heard multiple things, but go ahead, and what did you hear and where would you like to start with that?
Okay, so let me see here. I'm gonna kind of tune in with that. I'm gonna go with the part about, I guess, if spirit guides are on different levels of light. Is that what I heard? Is that the right way she kind of put it?
Yes, can spirit guides be on different levels of light? And everything is a spectrum, right?
So what I'm hearing is we go where we are needed. So sometimes it may seem we are on different levels of light, although we prefer the higher levels of light. That's where they were showing me at the beginning when you first asked the question, they were showing me that they congregate kind of in that all together. I see them like all together, like friends, this is their job. And they might, plan the day, almost like a meeting, sort of. And then, they go where they're needed. So the levels that they're in are often where we are ourselves.
Mhm.
So we'll say with my guide, if my guide might have his morning meeting, so to speak, and then it's about coming to where I am. So if that my guide is working with me to match that level. So what I'm getting as an answer would be that it depends who they are working with, what level they are on. Now, I would like to address also that, do they ever go to dark levels? Never, ever, ever. That's what I'm just out hearing. Never, ever, ever. Now, maybe that's my guide speaking with that. We don't need to go there. That's not our, they're even showing me it's not their job. It's not their job.
Mhm.
So we could say, well, doesn't everybody have a spirit guide? Even those that are on a lower level here, which would be a fair question. That just came in. So maybe they're helping me to give that to you all. You see often people who are working very, we'll say lower levels on the earth plane are not even open to communication from spirit of the higher realms. So that's kind of a moot point. They're almost saying it's like we are there for assistance always. Yes, everybody has a spirit guide, no matter where one might be within themselves on the earth plane. But if that person is not allowing us to come in and does not see the light for themselves, they just show me that they sit in love. They sit with love and healing and patience. But there is always the presence of them with all. So I'm going to jump back to you, Julie. I hope that makes sense. Maybe we'll have more as we keep both going into this. So.
Okay. So what I heard and what they will probably continue to say to me is that they are on different levels, but for different reasons. So, and it's not really different levels of light. They don't. So when we think of dark and light as humans, it's a very human experience, right? And it's also very subjective. So we want to say that to you as humans. So spirit guides come to you because not just to help you, but because it's part of their agreement to work on their evolution. All right. And so they adapt depending upon who they're helping and at what time in the cycle this might be for that person, as well as their own evolution. We don't think of it as necessarily dark or light. It is information. And again, you humans love to say things like one man's treasure is another man's trash, or one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Well, it's not necessarily that different in the unseen world, in that again, they don't think of it as light or dark. It's just information. It's just a perspective. What do we do with that? How do I use that, either for the person I'm working with, their evolution, or for my own spiritual evolution? So just remember this: light and dark is a label, is a judgment. there are higher vibrations and lower vibrations. Doesn't necessarily mean that a lower vibration is dark or bad. It's just a vibration and a level. So we really want you to understand that and keep that in mind. And it really depends on where you are in your evolution and where they are in their evolution. We think that was succinct and we like that. Anything else you would like to add?
No, I think between us, yeah.
Okay. Are our higher selves on different levels of light as well? So, again, yes, you see light and dark as a spectrum as a human, and we are fine with that. Your higher self is a direct human-ish personification of the God spirit, of source energy. And it, no, the short answer to that is no, it is not. There are no levels of light. There is a smaller amount of light. There is a larger amount of light. God source, as you think of that, is a very large, oh, it's so interesting. What they showed me was it's like the difference between a universe and a planet. Okay, so source energy is like the universe. It's very big and vast, and your higher self is like the planet, or you can use sun and planet. The planets revolve around the sun being God or source, planets being your higher self. Mm-hmm. How's that? We think that explained it, but what do you have to add?
Okay, so pose the question to me one more time, please.
Her question, the way she said it was, do our own higher selves, can they be on different levels of light as well?
Okay, thank you.
Can
so
they be on different levels of light? We'll leave that.
Okay. So what I was shown initially was just brighter and dimmer, brighter and dimmer. So basically that it's almost like that's your own decision in some ways as to where you are at consciously, right, at any given moment. So these levels, that we will use that word, even though that may not really be a thing exactly, but we get the question. So, they're just showing us that in some ways, yes, but not in the way that you're thinking, which might be kind of what Julie's saying too. It's like that's really the way for me they just showed it, is like your higher self illuminates, gets larger, and then it can go like this. So if we want to call that different levels, in some ways there's truth to that, if that makes sense, but just not necessarily with those words.
And I'm going to extrapolate a little bit, or I'm going to assume or surmise that I think she's also asking, can your higher self be light and dark? And no.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because it is a direct reflection on a human-sized level, this brighter or dimmer, larger or smaller level of source energy. And the only perspective of dark or evil is what you as a human perceive that to be. Mm-hmm. No is the short answer to that.
Yeah,
we both
agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very different, though, we want to say, from evil, and that concept and that conversation is a very interesting one to be had. So maybe we'll go there, maybe we won't, but well, they're like, you brought it up, let's go there.
It's your fault, go ahead.
Evil, again, so everything is a matter of human perspective. There are, to be clear, many different types of energetic entities, seen and unseen, okay, that are throughout your universes and worlds. Evil, again, is a perspective. It is based on a common set of values you have as humans. So the reason I brought that up and wanted to talk about that a little bit further is there is actually a show called Evil. It's very well done. And it is the three main kind of the four main characters are a trio, one that's part of the Catholic Church, one that is a psychologist, and one that is the technical guy. All right. And they are tasked by the Catholic Church and this is all fiction, but to go and either prove possession or prove some sort of demonic possession or a prophecy. It's basically light or dark, right? Again, in the world of the human. And so it really, I guess it must be stuck in my mind because I saw the first show of season 2 and now I'd have to pay $10 a month to get the rest. And I'm like, anyway, it is very much entertainment, as are so many shows, conspiracy theory shows and all these shows that people seem to think are true or whatever. That's all just entertainment. We really want you to know that. All right. So let's just stop with that for that topic. But the bottom line about that is that evil is a perspective. Mm-hmm. There is light, there is no light. That's just the bottom line. There is light or no light.
Yeah.
And how you use that light is what determines whether it is good or bad or evil or not. Light or dark, as you like to call it, but it's not. So, all right. Anything you want to add?
I would just say not much more to it. I would just say that what I get is that, evil is lack of love. It's lack of love, pretty much bottom line, right? So lack of, if we are to say that somebody is evil, some of these people that do really heinous crimes and things like that, well, obviously they've lost their way, haven't they? They've lost their way from love, from self-love, from source. So is it more likely that they can also be susceptible to attachments of other negative type vibrations out there? Yep. Yeah. Not all of them necessarily are, but probably quite a few could be influenced a bit in ways. But, so where does it come from? Again, it starts from just not living in the light, right? Not having a sense of what light is, what love is. And then it's so easy for some of those people to go down the path of negativity that just spirals into that, and certainly can go into some really low levels, of being, of acting, of feeling. So to us, that's kind of what the idea of evil is.
As well as any kind of mental illness.
Yeah.
The picture. So
yeah, definitely.
And that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, excellent. Thank you for that. That was really
and to you as well. And thank you, Daphne, for those questions.
All right, let's just see. Okay, so she brings up a point, and I just want to say this. She says, what I've noticed is that healers talk to their spirit guides or higher selves, sometimes to angels or ascended masters for guidance. Yet that guidance can differ very much from healer to healer. And she's like, so she brings up like COVID and masks and wearing it. And we want to say, look, you are humans. You will also filter through your own human existence. As much as we, Tammy and I, open up to be a channel of light and information and knowledge and wisdom and guidance, we're human, and it works through our human filter. Right. So we do our best to stay out of that, to move our consciousness out of the way so that we can bring in that information without bias, but it does come through a human filter. And so it is not surprising that you will hear differing guidance, as well as there might be a lot of guidance on any one topic, and it might be evolving as you work through your human time. So that is what often accounts for the differences in guidance or information.
Mhm.
You want to add to that, Tammy? Or
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think that, sometimes we will have different guides that even come in and talk with us. And, so maybe they have their own perspective sometimes that could differ. And I agree with you, Julie, we are the filter kind of that of where it comes from. And I know sometimes it is a big question, even if this is not quite off topic, but, maybe a branch off of that. Sometimes I might have a client that's gone to several different readers that say different things. And that's always interesting too, isn't it? I mean, I'm just going to say, yeah, it is interesting. I mean, we don't really know why that is. It could be, my guides show me though, remember that you're being read at that moment in time. So you could shift, our energy shifts and changes all the time. Yeah. So you could be in one place at one moment showing us this, and we're we're working off of that. And then you go another time and you're having a different reading with somebody else and you're in a different space, so to speak, and different energy or information is coming to you as a result of that. So really, you're here to be able to really tap in to what feels right to you. It's okay if you're getting help from others for perspectives and things like that. But ultimately, you have to sit with that information you ever receive. Again, I'm a little off topic here, but in any reading, let's just kind of branch off and really discern what feels right for you. I've had readings from very good psychics, intuitives that didn't always resonate with me, that just didn't feel right. Not because I didn't want to hear it, because I would ask myself that too. It just didn't seem, right. So nothing is 100% accurate in any type of reading you ever get. And it has a lot to do with that. That's why for my readings, I don't go, I've talked about this before, for me, I don't go into the whole prediction arena, though it does come through sometimes, and I'm not asking for it. I will deliver it, but I will always even then say, take this, lightly. Take anything, just please don't set it in stone. This is a snapshot of literally, they'll show me the camera of what's likely to happen by the current energy that you're showing us. And then you have that, that ability, that free will to go out there and change things up. Some people will say, well, they said this and this, not necessarily with me. They're telling me about some other reader they went to, and they'll say, and that didn't happen. And all, my guides will say, oh, you decided to change that after you heard the information. So it could be a fear comes up, or maybe you're really not ready to receive that wonderful thing that's this thing that you're about to receive, right? Yeah. So, all of a sudden, like, oh, the wall, the protection goes up. There's a lot of things that can shift that around. So always kind of keep that in mind. You got to sit with the information afterwards. And we always say, if you like what you hear, put more affirmations out to it, really, embrace it. If it's something you don't care about, work on releasing that then, and then really visualizing and affirming what you would like instead of that, or however you want to go about that. But we always say, just take it with a grain of salt, as they say, anything that's really ever put out there, because the time is fluid, energy can change after a session. So.
100%, we agree 100%. I don't even think there's anything to add to that, so I won't. Well, I 100% concur.
Yeah.
Okay, one last thing, and then I'm going to shift. Well, there's so much more here, but oh my goodness, I think we covered most of it, Daphne. So the bottom line is, you will be given information, and then you as a human have to discover, just as Tammy said, discern what's right for you in that moment, and stretching a little bit outside your comfort zone as well. And I think the other thing I was going to say was, I never make another, I won't say never, but I almost never make another reader or intuitive wrong because of those reasons, all those reasons that Tammy stated. I draw the line with somebody saying to a person, yeah, you're going to die by the time you're 73. So blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa, what's the benefit in telling that to somebody that is not
Absolutely.
highest good?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I draw the line there.
Yeah, I
All
agree.
right. She does say, yeah, everybody is like, oh, claiming to have guidance from source and light, and yet there's all this polarity in the messages and views. She says, I thought polarity only existed on this earthly plane, and that our spirit guides and higher selves have transcended this duality. And what we say as source energy is that we see all the possibilities. We do not see any of it as duality. It is a full spectrum. And we will give you the strongest energy in that, on that spectrum. Some will go to those dualities, those polar ends. And if that happens, that's then your time to say, well, what's right for me? Okay, so that's what we'll just say about that. I mean, we could talk probably about duality and polarity and the all a lot, but we're today.
Yeah, I would just say with that, Julie, you're right. That so what you want to look at is, like Julie was saying, kind of the human filter coming through, and that there are lots of different perspectives. And as you were saying, we have to go back to ourselves, and bottom line, at the end of the session, you need to sit with that, what feels right to you, because really that is the reason you're also having that particular session, is to have that opportunity. So,
and that's every bit as important as any guidance that you'll get.
Yes.
Is to really sit and go within and say, what is most important to me as I move forward and I think about making this decision? How does it serve me? How does it help me? How does it sabotage me? How does it not work for me? You want to ask yourself all those questions.
Yeah.
I mean, not with everything, like, should I eat peas or carrots? I mean, that's silly, but it's a good thing to get in a habit of doing. So, all right. Anything else you want to add or?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So I'm going to segue out of source and the energy I was in and go into my cat story. So last Wednesday, I ended up taking my cat to the emergency room. I did not tell you guys this.
I don't think so, no.
All right. So she had been not feeling well on and off for about 4 or 5 days. She disappeared for a couple of days. This is Maggie May. She came back. I could see there was something wrong with her mouth, but she never would let me get really close enough to her. And then I walked into my room to do something as I was getting ready to go out. And there was just a puddle of this big of blood.
Oh, no. Oh.
On my sort of beigeish carpet.
Gosh.
Yes, I have to get the carpet cleaners out. I got most of it out, but anyway. And I was just like, oh my, I knew immediately she had vomited it. It wasn't coming from, and I knew immediately it was her.
Yeah.
No question for me. And I called up my friend who is always just in a heartbeat there for me, and I always just feel like I can never thank her enough. I want her to know how much it means to me. And we do that for each other. We just do. And we went down to Sage Veterinary, which is, I called them. And I mean, just to get her seen, we waited 3 hours.
Wow.
And you cannot leave. You leave, you forfeit. It's like your reservation, right?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, so you should have seen me and Sheila trying to get her into the cage, number one. And we finally managed to get her into my very tiny ensuite bathroom. And then she like threw a towel over her, and we got her into the crate, and threw the towel over the crate, and she was well behaved after that.
Mhm.
Waited for 3 hours. They finally took her in because they've got emergency. It's really truly an ER. It is.
Yeah, we brought our cat there one time. It was late though, and I never had that kind of wait, but probably during the day. What time was this? Like,
This was 4 in the afternoon, but this
Yeah.
is all COVID related now because
oh, okay.
all the veterinaries, they always say, if this is an emergency, go to your local ER, right? So it was full. So we ended up leaving her. We never know how long it's going to be. We ended up doing DoorDash, eating in the car, which was kind of interesting. And then they said, okay, we're going to take her in, but we can't get her calm enough to get x-rays. So anyway, there was a whole kerfuffle about that. And then they were finally able to do that. And then, they had to make her wait because they were triaging somebody else's dogs. And it was really, anyway, my dearest, just dedicated friend stayed with me until 10:30. And I'm like, by that time, I'm like, I'm taking you home. I can't, who knows when it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I took her home, and then I went home, and then finally about 11:30, I got a call. And the ER doc started to talk to me about what was wrong. And I thought it was going to be not simple, but like one thing. And there were like a whole slew of things. I'm just like, oy. So first of all, she was anemic. And I'm like, she said, I don't think it's from the blood that you're saying. And I'm like, yeah, but there was a lot of blood. I'm sorry. And my guess is that she had been swallowing blood for quite some time over a period of days.
Yeah.
This just was the culmination of that.
Mm-hmm.
So she was anemic. She also had an infection, probably from the wound to her mouth. Now, as I've seen her meow, I noticed that her big, there's these, I guess they're called canines, but there's top and bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the bottom ones is missing, and that's a big tooth for a cat.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That is a chomp and eat, and that's a very big tooth for a cat to be missing.
Right.
So that's what we figured out was the wound. Maybe it was part of that, the whole, we don't know how it happened. And then she says to me, and I also noticed that she had 2 pellets. But they weren't current wounds because there was no wounds for them.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere in her earlier life, before she came to my home, somebody had shot her with a BB gun.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask when you said pellets, and then I just realized, yeah, right.
I was literally stunned into silence, and I went, what? She said, do you know, you would be surprised how often I see this.
Oh, that makes me sick.
And I was just like, I was stunned into silence.
Yeah.
I was just like, I still have no words for me to comprehend why anybody would do that.
I agree.
And it's not just one person. That happens a lot.
Right.
It just happens to all cats and dogs, probably birds.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere that somebody's got a BB gun and they're like bored or irritated or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're never going out again.
Right.
So since Wednesday, and she's letting me give her the oral antibiotics, and now she is actually eating again. Well, I say she's letting me. I grab her by the scruff of the neck and I shoot it.
I was going to say, how do you do that? Yeah, because again, 2-man project in our house.
I literally just grab her by the scruff of the neck, and it's liquid, so I inject it in. Sometimes it all goes in, sometimes not.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
I asked the doctor to give her the they have a 2-week injectable antibiotic that they give to animals when they do any kind of, I guess, surgery. It's to prevent infection. Mm-hmm. So they did that, but this was also very specific and targeted. And then she said to me, really, she should come back for a check. And I laughed. I'm like, yeah, no. Um, and then I called my vet, who's supposedly reopening again, but they went from like 5 or 6 vets down to a part-time vet and a support staff. I mean, they just went from a staff of 23 down to 3, and
Mhm.
now they're trying to build their staff again. So that's where Maggie May is. I have decided to keep her in. Um,
That's a
often,
good call.
often she is okay with it, and often she is not. As days go by, she adjusts a little bit more.
Mhm.
Um, I just I could not live with myself,
No, I know. They are safer. I'm a big advocate of indoor kitties just for the reasons that unfortunately that happened. And
well,
so often people feel they have a right to do those things.
it's disgusting. It is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's some kind of sick thing.
There are many D words I could use as well as, and I'm sure, an F word, but deplorable and disgusting and despicable, and I put it out on Next Door Neighborhood because I wanted people to know that this is a common occurrence.
Yeah.
And somebody else posted that she had a dog that happened to, I think it was her dog, and they did a post-mortem, and they found like upwards of 40 BBs, and they figured that this dog probably died of lead poisoning
That is so sad and
because they
tragic.
don't do surgery to remove them. They're not really, it's just not a procedure they do.
Right.
So here's the good news. She is doing much better. Her
Yay.
wound seems to be mostly healed. I have a little bit of antibiotic left to give her. Um, she is adapting mostly. She is very happy when I love her up and pet her. She seems to be very much more reassured, and
Right.
she's
Yeah.
but boy, does that cat have a screeching meow, and it is nonstop sometimes.
Oh,
And last
yeah.
night I finally recovered from the night before, where I think I slept 1, maybe 2 hours at best.
Mhm. Oh gosh. Yikes. Healings are going to come to your home front there. I'm going to be sending some remote healings to you and to Miss Maggie May.
Yes, I appreciate them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Oh,
they said, here's some medicine, so next time you do need to bring her in, you can give this to her. It will sedate her. And I thought her and her other, offspring, because they're better, because when I brought them in, they were kittens.
mhm.
They were probably 12 weeks old, maybe. Actually, I didn't bring them in. I opened up the door and said, would you like to come in? And they said, sure.
They're
And they
like,
all
yeah,
came in.
okay.
They all just came in, and Theo and Fiona said, yeah, we're okay, stay in. And I let Fiona go in and out for a while until she went missing for 4 days. And when
Mhm.
she came back, I said, okay, little lady, you're done.
Yeah,
You're never going out again.
yeah,
So
definitely.
uh anyway, so that's
Yeah.
my cat story. And
Well, I mean, bless you for taking such good care of her too. She's where she needs to be with you for sure. But I just hope that she continues to heal and be well. And
she's just
yeah.
really, she can be so well. She's always actually sweet.
Mhm.
She loves to be loved up. um so I think she'll over time be fine. I don't know why I thought she was, I mean, I knew she was obviously, 9 months to a year older than her kittens, but she might be older than that for all I know. And
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
clearly,
How old is she about? Did you say that?
well, her kittens are about 6 years old,
Oh,
and
okay.
so she's got to be minimum probably 7, if not
Yeah.
a little bit older.
Mhm. Right.
So
Oh, well, bless her little
yeah,
furry kitty heart.
yeah. So I
And
said,
to you for taking care of her.
I just she yeah, thanks. She's she is just a very sweet cat, and I think over time will adapt. And
Yeah.
you know, she'll probably always want to go out, because here is Fiona 5 years later and she still wants to go out.
Yeah, I know, once they have that in them, so to speak, then it's, it can be,
And I really thought about, I have a patio outside, and I thought, "Well, maybe I could just make it a catio."
yeah, I know. Those are really great.
But
Ah,
it's so expensive right now, I have to put it on the back burner. But
yeah, yeah,
I think over time I'm going to make it a catio for them. So
yeah.
anyway, that's my story, and I think our time is good. So anything you
Yeah.
have that you want to add
Uh,
today, or
Not a whole lot. What just dropped in a little bit ago too was spontaneity. Be spontaneous and do know when the right time is. So somebody, if you get this hunkering or this idea, hankering, I guess is the word, hankering for something, or you're thinking about doing something, try to do it if it makes sense. You know what we mean by that. If it's healthy, if it's something that serves you well, of your highest good. If you say, well, sometimes I get that during work time and I can't do anything, we would still say, then you weren't supposed to at that time. But it's okay to entertain the thoughts and then do them as soon as you are able. Spontaneity is the spice of life. And if you've been feeling in a rut and feeling bored, then please try to get out and do something to break that up. Allow yourself to step out of your box. Allow yourself to actually follow through with that thing you thought about, like, I haven't done this for a long time. I should go do that. Do it. So do it. Of course, it has to feel right, and all the circumstances have to be, okay for you to do it. But so often we think, maybe later, I don't know, that kind of stuff. That's the point we're getting to. And so they just wanted to drop that in because I do try to do that when I can. But if you really feel that at that moment you can't, then you are where you need to be right at that moment. So don't worry about it. But when the time comes and when it's a good time to do it, then do it.
beautiful. We
So,
love it.
to share that. Yeah.
I forgot to take notes during that whole thing, but I will summarize the questions for you so that we can put that up. And
Yeah, and then if there's anything, because I have a few things on there that I put on there, so not a whole lot, but yeah, I'll just add on to it if it's not.
right, so
Yeah.
we are done for June 29th. This will probably get posted later today.
Mhm.
And we love you. We really do. We love your support and your questioning minds. And oh, there's nothing better than the human mind. Oh, there's just nothing better.
Yep.
We just love the curiosity that you have as humans.
That's why we're here. That's why I keep saying, that's why we're here, is to explore. And so, yeah, remember just to send us those questions. Thank you, Daphne, for that, for sharing your questions. And if there's more, we certainly will look at that as well. So,
I have some more from Daphne, so maybe we'll do that next week.
okay, good.
We'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep them coming, Daphne. And until our next time, we'll see you next week. I'm Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic, juliehawkins.com, bizpsychic.com. And my
Yeah, Tammy Langowski, tammy'sintuitive.com. That's where you can find me. So thanks, everybody, and have a fabulous week.
Oh, I have to get my mouse to work again. Hold on there. Okay, we love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.